Hello, everyone. This is Ron from the ZinoNation show. We got a really big show tonight. We got a lot to talk about. We got Zino firmware updates happen this week, and we got a really big show tonight. We got a lot to talk about. We got Zino firmware updates happen this week, and hold on. We got a lot to talk about. We got Zino firmware updates. So I got to figure out what's going on, people. Hold on. I don't know where that echo's coming from. So I got to figure out what's going on, people. That's better. I think it was me. Sorry, I had sound up here. I think Marcus has a sound up on some kind of screen, and he'll be with us in a second. I'm going to just turn my sound down. Sorry for this. Okay, when Marcus gets back, I'll turn the sound back up again. But yeah, ZinoNation, episode 32. Couple show notes before we get started. We're not going to do a show on the Monday before Christmas. Marcus and I both have plans. So I think that's what, 23rd, possibly. I'm never good with dates. But anyhow, the Monday before Christmas, no ZinoNation. Maybe we'll throw something else in the feed. And also, this Wednesday, which will be the 4th of December, Marcus and I will appear on Drone Therapy with Bill Thomas and John Coopy. So we're going to try to talk Skydio a little bit and probably get into other topics. So yeah, tonight we're going to focus a little bit on the Zino. They got some firmware updates a few days ago. In fact, Marcus did a test flight on Thanksgiving Day. He went out on the holiday and did a little test flight for us. So he's going to go over that in detail. He's got a video up for us, so we're going to dig in that. Also, there's rumors that the Zino is going to get an app update really soon. So we want to talk about that a little bit, and then we'll move on to the Skydio, the late on arrival Skydio drone, which was supposed to be shipping at the end of November, and a lot of us haven't even got any email notifications to complete our purchase, but we'll get into that. And also, since the last show, the Autel Evo 2 has been announced, and man, that thing is packed with features and whatever. So we're going to get into that too. So I'm going to actually, Marcus, I have the sound muted, so I can't hear you if you talk now, because I think it was feedback coming from your end. So I turned my sound down and it helped, but I'm going to turn my sound up so I can hear what you're going to say. So I'm going to throw it to you, and I'm going to turn my sound up a little bit.
Okay, yeah, you're good, Ron. And
we have it fixed now.
I'm having trouble hearing you.
Except my watch is talking.
Yeah, Siri's talking to you.
So anyhow, my co-host Marcus has been hard at work today. He had a major snowstorm hit southern Idaho here, and he was out doing snow removal almost all day. But I think he may have got a chance to fly the drone. So with that teaser, we're going to throw it over to Marcus and find out about his major whiteout today.
We did have a little snow today, although I don't know if I'd call it a major snowstorm. We had 3 or 4 inches of snow, but it was enough that we needed to shovel the drive and the sidewalks, etc. But I did get out to fly today. So, I don't know how many saw the firmware update video that I did on the Zino that has the battery updates in it. And then as well as the battery update, we also had they gave us a new gimbal firmware as well. Well, the flight control firmware seemed to work pretty good. It flies pretty darn stable. I mean, what I have to say for Hubsan is that they have improved the stability of the Zino just heads and tails over what it was when Ron and I were flying it almost a year ago now. So that's
I'll interrupt. And since Kelly Shores did his hovers test back last winter.
That's right. And you got to hand it to Zino for the improvements that they've made. And not only that, Ron, the camera too. They reverted back to the 0.3.6 camera firmware, which was the last good one. Kudos to Hubson for figuring that out. I don't know what that 0.3.8 was all about, but it was garbage, and so I'm glad that they gave us the old version back. But what they did is they gave us a new gimbal firmware. It's 2.8, and the previous one was 2.2. And the 2.8 firmware that they gave us, oh my God! So I don't. If you saw that video, you know I kept having a tilted horizon all the way through it, and how disappointing, because the Zino has always had a really good, nice flat horizon.
Marcus, maybe they borrowed the gimbal firmware from the FIMI X8 in the old days.
From the FIMI, yeah, the FIMI used to be horrible, and they've improved that one a lot too. But so what I did was I rolled back to the 2.2 version of the gimbal firmware, and I took it out and I flew it today, and it worked awesome. Nice flat horizon. I went out to Heroes Park. There were no lawnmowers out there bugging me today because it was all covered in snow.
How about snow plows?
There were no snow plows that I saw either. Looks like they got to that early in the morning. But to your point, they did have all the sidewalks plowed. But the other thing that I really wanted to test was the battery. So my original battery in this thing, battery number 1, well, you can see the number 1 on there.
Number 1.
It is, I've had some issues with it. And so I've got a new balance charger that I use to charge it this time. And I was hoping that would help. I've got a Venom charger, and I was also, with that charger, I have the ability to check the voltage in the cells, and I mean the voltage in between the 3 cells in this battery were within 0.02 of a volt of each other, all of them. So that they appear to be healthy, and that new flight control software that's supposed to tell us when we have a bad battery didn't give me any warnings or anything.
Now let me cut you off just for a second. Weren't there rumors that it's the middle cell in the batteries that was going bad?
That's exactly right. So it's the middle cell. So it was Hubson that told us that. Well, 2 things. Peter Martin had a video where all of his tests, when he tested the resistance across the middle cell on the batteries, it was always higher. And then Hubson reinforced that. They said the same thing. They said because the middle cell is sandwiched in there, it gets hotter and it deteriorates faster. You know, whether that's any kind of a problem I have here, I couldn't tell you. I don't know, because I have no way of testing the resistance. I don't have the kind of charger that does that. Hopefully some of you guys do, and you can check your batteries. But the bigger point is the new firmware is supposed to tell us when you have a problem battery like that, and I'm getting none of that. But I still got the deal where it went from 100% down to 65% within 30 seconds after takeoff. But then what's funny after that is then the battery was very linear after that as it declined. And I got 12 minutes flight time out of it. And this is on a 36-degree cold day. So I was okay with that. And I'm thinking my battery may not be as bad as what I initially thought. So that's just kind of it in a nutshell. But so
can we summarize a little bit, Marcus? So as of right now, you're running the older camera version firmware, which actually came out sometime at the end of May, beginning of June. 3.06 is that? I mean, I'm getting my numbers. Whatever you said.
Yeah, so I can read them off for you if you want, Ron.
And while you read them off, I'm going to summarize. Okay, so you're running a camera version. It's like, say, almost what we'll say 5 months old at this point or something like that, and then you're running the gimbal version, which is from, well, not the current one, but the one before. So the only thing you're running current is the flight controller. Is that correct, Marcus?
So that is correct. So we're running flight control version 1.2.05. I upgraded that from 1.2.04. A lot of you are still on the old, I can't remember what the preceding numbers were, but it ended in 0.52. That seemed to be a good one as well. although I did notice more stability when I went to 1.2.04. I noted was noticeably more stable. Now, as far as the gimbal goes, the gimbal for a long time was 3.0.2.2 forever and ever. And then this last update, they gave us 3.0.2.8. And that's when we when I had a problem. Rolled it back to 2.2 and it's fine. And then, I disagree with Gorilla Man on 1.1.52 there. I don't think that's the best flight control firmware.
Well, Marcus, you're not allowed to disagree with Gorilla Man.
I guess I'm not, but I am.
Policy.
Yeah, this new flight control firmware is great, 1.2.05. But if you are happy with 1.1.52, don't do anything. You don't need to change it because you're not going to see that huge of a difference. Now, the one where there is a big difference is if you looked at some of the previous updates, they gave us FPV firmware, the camera firmware, V0.3.8, and that one was garbage. You got pulsing in the video, so you don't want to use that one. Hubsan then, this last update, gave us back 0.3.6, and that is the best version of the camera firmware. So GM is saying there's no difference in the update. I disagree. I saw a lot more stability in the 1.2.04, and 0.05 is supposed to give us that battery update, or 0.5. I mean, and I just haven't had. You're not going to see it unless you have a bad battery, I guess.
Now, if anybody has a really bad battery and this firmware update shows that the battery is bad, we'd love to have you come on the show and talk about that, or make a video if you don't want to talk about it live. We'd love to see somebody have a battery that the firmware says is bad and actually see the wording that it says. But Girlman is talking about the app here. So Marcus, tell us what you know about a new version of the Hubsan, I don't know what they even call the app or whatever, but the app for iOS and Android that's on your phone to control.
Yeah. What do they call it? Hubsan X or something like that. Hey, I'm going to look at it and tell you, Ron.
No,
It's X Hubsan. X Hubsan.
Yeah, you've heard rumors that there's going to be an app update dropping any day now that could possibly add some new features.
That's right. So we should get some camera features, some panorama features. I'm trying to remember what all else they said they had in there, Ron. I'll be honest with you. I would have to go look it up on their Facebook page because I did not save that change list.
Yeah, no need. We'll just refer anybody here that wants to look at the official Hubsan Facebook page and dig in there to see what the app promises.
I might be able to find it here pretty quick, Ron. But one of the things that they also said is that firmware is also related to diagnosing the battery as well. So I'm scrolling through here right now, Ron, looking for that post that they put up. So
Marcus, you look and I'll shout out the chat room, okay?
Okay.
Okay, we got Al Duran here, Duranifly in here. Al's like a ZinoNation Hall of Fame member there. How you doing? I hope you had a great Thanksgiving, Al. Metro Drones, that's Bill. That we both had the pleasure of meeting at Spin Up. How you doing, Bill? I hope you had a good holiday. We got Josh in here from Parks and Tech. He was in here early. Another ZinoNation Hall of Fame member. He said the panorama was one of the items that they mentioned. We got Jay Burr Drone in here tonight with us. We got last week's guest, Mel, in here for AGL. How you doing, Mel? I hope you had a great holiday. We got Ron from 3X Drones in here with us. We got Scott Ridgway with us tonight. Girl Man, of course, who we've already shouted out a couple times. We got Floyd Moats in here joining us tonight. How you doing, Floyd? I hope everybody had a great holiday. I'm scrolling back. Greg Pittman's in here. How you doing, Greg? And I think I've got everybody. Have I stalled long enough?
You have. I've got it here, Ron.
Okay.
So you know what? I may have misread this when I first looked at it, and Oh yeah, so it is an updated app. Okay, I'm sorry I didn't misread it, but here's what they're saying. This is both for the Zino and the Zino Pro. They're saying the flight control, they're improving altitude hold, homeward voyage. In other words, return immediately when the height is between 5 to 20 meters instead of climbing at least 10 meters. So I think what they mean by that, well, I don't know what they mean by that. If you guys can figure that out, you're smarter than me. So are they saying that it stays when it's low? It'll stay at that low height when it returns home? That may be what they mean. It's hard to tell. But they're also saying battery detection for irregular battery capacity with a promptly alert. I'm reading that precisely. A promptly alert. And so then and for images, they're saying time-lapse photography. That's huge, man. And camera, Ron, this is for you. Camera shutter control will be available.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Hey, did you see Matt put up here? I think Girlman also mentioned. They said you won't see the battery diagnostic until the new app comes out.
That's possible. They sure didn't say that on the when they released the firmware. But anyway, they said the updated app will provide manipulation programs for camera shutter control and time-lapse photography, voice prompt, homeward voyage, and slow descent countdowns, whatever that means, as well as GPS following modes. Drones will follow according to the GPS on the phone, which I kind of thought it already did. Well, no, maybe not. Maybe it did just use just the visual following. So that's an improvement. Radar detection for the drone's relative location. So I'm not sure what that means, and I don't know how you could have radar detection without some kind of sensor. And then it will have spherical panorama, 180 degrees, vertical shot, and wide angle. The last but not least, the image quality for the Zino Pro was significantly improved. So that's for the Pro. So anyway, that's what they're saying they're going to fix. So looking forward to that app update, Ron.
Yes, we'll if it comes out before our next show, maybe we'll even drop a special segment in there where we discuss it, Marcus.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course we would. Yeah.
Watch our feed in case it drops this weekend. I mean, if it drops this weekend and it's really not anything to talk about, but if it really adds some good features to it, including the battery diagnostic, accurate readings, and a lot of stuff Marcus just said. I heard voice commands in there. That's a feature every drone flyer is looking forward to.
Not. Yeah. That's pretty funny. Yeah.
Unless you could tell it stuff like, "Hey, Zino, stop doing the hops and drop," or stop crabbing as you're flying along, or
well, the good news is it doesn't do any of that anymore, Ron. The ups and drop is gone, as is that crabbing. They've fixed it right up.
Okay, so yeah, you won't if you could escape in the old days. So did you see where Grillman says he flew the X8 against the Zino and was disappointed with the video quality of the X8?
I'm telling you, the video quality of the Zino it's pretty darn good. I think that what I might do one of these days is do a little comparison with the Mavic Mini, and I know Duranify, Al Duran, has done that already. He literally strapped the Mini on top of the Zino,
we got to get Al on the future show to tell us about that whole piggyback in the little Mavic Mini on top of the bigger drones. That they were quite an interesting video. Did you see Dennis says that his Pro is shipped from the China warehouse?
That's great. That's great, Dennis. That's I guess I've got to admit to something, and I was talking to Ron about this before the show. I was telling him, I said, shoot, Ron, when the Mavic Mini comes out, I'm going, why am I going to want to fly the little Zino? Well, after the Mini came out, I understand why I want to keep flying this little guy. There's a lot of things that this thing, I think, does better than the Mavic Mini. Should we get into that, Ron?
Well, yeah. Well, let's jump into that segment before we move on. Then, as you can see over my shoulder here, I've kind of got a little lineup here of some of the affordable camera drones out there. Anything starting from the Zino with the official price of $369, but you can get it much cheaper. Of course, we'll get into it in a second, but you can't get it as cheap as you used to because of the tariff. So that's a little Zino, which can be acquired for under $369. How about that? Safe to say. And then we have the little Mavic Mini here, which can be acquired for $399. And Marcus, I was out roaming stores all day today on Cyber Monday, and the Apple store had it on display in the store, but the Best Buy I was in didn't have it on display any place.
Really?
No display on it. It was too busy for me to run and click that. Now here we have the FIMI X8 should be in this spot here, but I don't have the FIMI X8 at the moment. But I hear the FIMI X8 may make its way to New Jersey at some point, but it's not here, right? So we substituted the Mavic Pro Classic, which is in some ways is very similar to the X8, right? So this is a good substitute. Now you can get this. What was the price you saw the other day? $409 for the X8
on the FIMI X8. Yeah, $409, and that one you could get from China. $409, man. That is insane. That is a lot of drone for that kind of money.
And at the high end of the spectrum here, at $599 currently on Amazon, we have the Parrot Anafi, which it kind of is in the high end of what we have sitting here or whatever. And in fact, the FIMI X8 may actually, be the stronger, better flyer, but this is, more full featured in the stuff it could do, different flight modes and of course the camera settings and everything. Like I think this is a 100 megahertz bit rate, which I think the X8 is too, but we'll call this the camera champ of the four, even though somebody may want to dispute me on the X8.
I would describe the Anafi as feature rich.
Right. I mean, the app is as polished as the DJI Go 4 app is.
And in many ways is more intuitive. I like the app for the Anafi. My only complaint on the Anafi, Ron, if it had better Wi-Fi connection, it would almost be the perfect drone. It's that good.
Yeah, we've touched that before. Okay, now here I'm going to set you up, Marcus. Now you have a family friend, or somebody or a family friend comes at you and says, my husband or my son wants a drone for Christmas. I don't want to spend a lot of money for it. I want to keep the budget under $600 for this drone. He doesn't want a tool. He wants something with a decent camera on, and we'll even say it's his first drone. Well, what do you recommend? Anything on the table here?
Well, of course. So now you'd have to ask him a lot of things. If they were really wanting to spend the least amount of money possible and get a quality piece, it would absolutely be the Zino. Now, the caveat there is it has to be somebody that can follow instructions. I'm not even saying they have to have a lot of technical skill, but being able to do firmware updates and things like that, it needs to be somebody that is not afraid of that and can follow instructions. Now, if it's somebody that is a little more reticent about, and you want a more plug and play type of a deal, I would push them towards the Mavic Mini or the FIMI X8, and then I would question them on what they want to do with the drone. If they're looking for a selfie drone, they're not going to be flying out 100 miles, the Mini for sure. If they want something that's a little bit more powerful and fast, and they're not worried about being compact, I'd point them towards the FIMI X8. Now, if they were a little bit more sophisticated than that, and they wanted more features, and they had a little more money, the Anafi would be a no-brainer there. There again, you'd want to explain to them about the pluses and minuses of the Wi-Fi on the Anafi. So how's that, Ron?
Pretty good. Pretty good. You round it a little bit for me now. Okay, now say another question here. What if they say, well, I don't really like ordering online. I just want to go in Best Buy or a local store, and I just want to pick something up. does that narrow the field a little bit?
Well, of course it does. So then it's the Mavic Mini, right? And I wish you could still get
wait. This is right on the shelf in most Best Buys.
Yeah, and in the Apple store, go to any Apple store will have it. Coincidentally, when we're on the subject, I went into Walmart today, and they have they still have their little drone cabinet, but it's a bunch of no-name stuff.
Wow.
They got a drone in there, Ron, that looks like that Parrot Anafi, kind of a clone of that, but the camera isn't on a gimbal or anything, and they still want like $269 for it or something. Anyway, I'm saying stay out of Walmart if you're looking for a decent drone. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, I think we talk about this in here. I was in a Best Buy today, around the Cherry Hill area, and of course I could have walked out with this drone. If I had the money on me today, I could have walked out with this. But there was no signs of this anywhere in the Best Buy I was in. There, no display, no signage, no like it was here, but it sold out. It just wasn't any sign of it whatsoever.
Well, so you're bringing up a good point, Ron. So when we're talking about those, particularly the Hubsan Zino or the FIMI X8, for the most part, you're going to order those from China. If you can find, sometimes they'll be in a U.S. warehouse, but not often. Most of the time, you're going to get those from China. There is an advantage to being able to go into a Best Buy, pick up that little Mini or pick up the Parrot Anafi, and you get it home and you have a problem with it, you can turn around and just take it right back to the store.
And now another question too. If I want to order this, and this, of course, we're assuming this Mavic's the FIMI X8. If I order them today, would I be guaranteed to have them under the Christmas tree on 25th?
You know better than that, Ron. Who the hell knows? You might. I've had stuff show up pretty darn quick, but other times it's 5 or 6 weeks later, and you're wondering where it's at, and you come home one day and there's a box on your front door. It's like, so who knows?
Right. So maybe the if you're in the low end of that budget that we talked about, then for the average consumer that doesn't know about ordering from China and dealing with tariffs, then this guy may be the safest, but I'm not saying the best, but maybe the safest one to get. But if you're in a higher end of that money scale, then maybe this guy over here with the caveat that this is the best Wi-Fi drone we've seen yet as far as signal connection, everything. It's superior to everything here. Now you think it's superior? Well, you think it's superior to the FIMI X8's Wi-Fi, or on the same level?
Gosh, probably about the same, I would say. Probably they're pretty darn close. The Wi-Fi on the X8 and the Mini are pretty darn close. Do you want to talk about the goodness of the Mini for a second, Ron?
We're gonna, that was our second thing, so we'll get to Mini. Before we move off our comparison, I do want to throw a caveat. Marcus has a great video where he took the Mini out a little bit too far and got caught in the headwind. But this guy here, his Wi-Fi may not be as good, but he's superior in the wind than the Mini, and it's not even close. This guy handles the wind really, and this is the second lightest drone on the table. And if the real X8 was here, it still would be the second lightest drone on the table by far. It's much lighter than this or the X8 would be, but it's very good in the wind for its size.
So let me tell you, Ron. So that FIMI X8, you know how Al strapped the little Mavic Mini on top of his X8. Let me put it to you this way: you could take the FIMI X8. You could strap the Parrot Anafi on top of it. You could strap the Mavic Mini on top of that. And in that wind that I was in where the Mini couldn't get home, that FIMI X8 would have stood on its nose and it would have hauled ass home at 30 miles an hour. So that's the difference between those drones.
So if you're telling me if the
power of those drones,
if the FIMI ever makes it to the windy winter Jersey Shore here, I won't have to be afraid to take it out when the wind's blowing.
That FIMI X8 is of the drones that I've flown and messed around with, that FIMI X8 is only second to the Mavic 2 in power, and they're so close. It's you can hardly measure the difference. And And Ron, you fly your Mavic 2, and you know how powerful that is. And I'm sure you noticed the difference between your original Mavic Pro and the Mavic 2. There's a big difference in the power of those drones.
Right. And of course, there's a reason why the Mavic 2 is not sitting on the table here. It totally blows up the price range.
Yeah, that's right.
High end of I'm going to call it consumer drones. To beat the Mavic 2, you'd of any drone that's still being made today, you'd have to get what that Inspire.
Yeah. Hey, so Parks and Tech is saying, Ron, you need the FIMI X8. So should we tell Josh what's going on, Ron?
Well, Josh, can you keep a big secret? Then don't tell anybody now. You promised the secrecy.
So Ryan over at Ryan's Drone Reviews has my FIMI
RD Drone Reviews.
Pardon me?
RD Drone Reviews.
Yep. Ryan Duvall at RD's Drone Reviews has my FIMI X8 right now, and I loaned it to him so he could do some flight tests and mess around with it. So instead of sending it back to me, he's going to send it over to Ron. So Ron's going to be fooling around with that FIMI X8 for a while. And you know, Ron, I think where you're at there on the Jersey Shore is a good spot for that FIMI. You're going to get some good video with it.
Marcus, do you want me to send it back with Lucy the elephant on the memory card?
That'd be awesome. I'd love it.
So we were promised to get into the Mavic Mini because it's like it's like the hottest movie out now. Everybody's got videos out on it. You put a Mavic Mini video up and you get all these views. And I'm going to let Marcus start off for a second. I'm going to say that one of the complaints about the Mavic Mini, and Billy Kyle mentioned this many times, that when you did the settings, the return to home setting on what do you call that? Return to home. It kept resetting to some low altitude every time. An app update came out this weekend for the Mavic Mini, and it fixed that so that return to home altitude won't go back to the bottom like it did at first, which could be dangerous if you forgot to set it and you were around high buildings and stuff like that. So that's our second app update we mentioned. This app update is just rumor until it's actually out, where this one is actually out and you can download it now. So Marcus, get us up to speed on the Mavic Mini. You know, where are you at with it right now?
So the Mini, I have not flown it since that app update, and I'm anxious to do that. But what you're describing is every time, at least on iOS, I don't think the Android people had this problem. I think it was only an Apple issue that it would. I would set my RTH at 45 meters. I want that sucker way up there. I don't want it hitting any trees or power lines or whatever. So I would set a really high return to home. But every time I would fire up the app, it would reset it to 15 meters. So you wanted to make sure you looked at it every time, because in Ron's point, that could be dangerous. Pardon me. But the big positive about the Mavic Mini, and I want to hear your opinion too, Ron, is the flight controls. That thing just flies. It's straight as an arrow. It's very precise. It's so easy to fly. And I've said it a bunch of times. When you have it out someplace in the air, you feel like you're flying a bigger drone. Now, of course, it doesn't have the speed or power of a bigger drone, but in the way that it handles and the way that it turns and moves, it feels a lot like the Mavic 2.
I totally agree. I'll make a comparison with like a little sports car or whatever. You take it out, and sure, it doesn't have the horsepower of something like your Corvette, but like a little sports car, like we'll say a Mazda Miata or something like that. But the handling, the precision of the steering is right there. I mean, how you can handle curves with it. And it's just like this. And Mark, he's kind of set me up. I just released a video this morning where my intention was to do a test between the video and photo quality of the Mavic Mini compared to basically the drone that replaced the DJI Spark. And I won't go on about that. I like this better. But at one point when the video was over, I realized when I flew this back to back with the Spark that this is so much better of a flyer than the Spark. Like I always thought the Spark flew well, but after I flew this first, after that I realized that the Spark kind of like kind of crapped a little bit. It didn't go exactly where I was like putting the sticks at, and that's not a knock on the Spark. It's just that's a credit to how well this flies. I mean, this has the Mavic name, and it actually flies like a real Mavic. I mean, it is just as precise as flying. Well, all the Mavics. The Mavic, I mean, the old Mavic Classic over there is a precision flyer too. And again, this fits right in that line. It's I don't know how it compares to the Air. I've never flown the Air or had the Air, but again, it's a much more precise flyer than the little Spark is. And in the test, another thing, I talked to Marcus about this off camera. You think, oh, well, the Spark's faster because it could do 30 some miles per hour, and this doesn't get that, isn't that fast. But the thing is, the Spark can only achieve that top speed of like 33 in sport mode. And in sport mode, unless you're flying in low wind and you're flying in a straight line, the gimbal's going to wobble on you. Where this thing can do almost 19 miles per hour in P mode with the gimbal being fine, even if you do movements and yaws. So in a situation where you really need to get video, this is actually a faster flyer than the Spark, because Spark only does like not even 10 miles per hour in its P mode. I don't know if they call it P mode, but even if you take obstacle avoidance off, it goes up to maybe 13, 14 miles per hour, but it definitely feels slower than this in a mode where you can actually record decent video. So what I say, that's I'll be like Forrest Gump, and that's all I have to say about the Mavic Mini.
Yeah, and Jaybird drone is saying that what you just said, that if you turn off obstacle avoidance, it'll go faster. And Ron, when I got my Spark, you're the guy that taught me that trick. So that's good. So if I'm going to say the top three things that I like about the Mavic Mini, the compact and small size makes it so easy to take with you. It is just phenomenal how easy it is to carry that drone around. For sure, if you're going to be on an airplane someplace, flying someplace, but even if you're just getting in your car, it's just a tiny little package. You throw it in with you, number one. And then number two is flight time. You can easily get 25 minutes out of a battery, 20 at the short end, 25 at the top end, and then the flight controls. Those are the three reasons to own that drone. Plus, the camera's pretty darn good. Now, when I say pretty darn good, it's not as good as some others, but it's good enough. What would you think? What would you say to that, Ron?
Yeah, I mean, the camera is, I mean, one thing, we don't have settings here, but just, on auto, whatever. I mean, it's the equivalent to your smartphone, I would say. You get about the same picture quality and video quality you would out of your smartphone, and it can't film. Well, I won't say it can't film in 4K. It won't film in 4K, but I think it's on par with your your smartphone. Yeah, I have for the price, I have no issues with the picture or the photo quality.
Yeah,
the only issue I have is not enough manual control, which we don't know. A lot of people say that'll be added later. Hopefully, it will be. But of course, maybe they won't add it later because they don't want it to bump up against the Mavic Air. I guess it's a fight between the the people in the marketing department and the people in the technical department. Do you think they'll add more camera functions and settings down the road? Or do you think it's going to be always crippled because of the not wanting to compete with the Air?
Yeah, with the other products. Gosh, probably only DJI knows that for sure. I'm sure they could if they wanted to. Ron, you and I have both noticed that the gimbal on the Mini is not terribly powerful, and so that I'm wondering about when somebody comes out with filters for it, will the gimbal be strong enough to be able to utilize them? That's a question. But just as it is, if you have to take it for what it is, it's a $400 drone. It's not going to be the best photo drone out there. It's it has lens flare issues and stuff like that. I don't know, Ron. That doesn't bother me that much. I am, I still like the way the video looks on it and so forth. So
Yeah, what's kind of relate this a little bit? If you were a photographer, or hobbyist, or professional photographer, and you were going to go out and buy a camera good enough to do semi-professional work or whatever, you would be looking to spend over $1,000 to get this camera. Maybe up to $2,000. So anybody that's looking to get professional or semi-professional looking photos, they know this isn't going to do the job for them. And the Mavic 2 Pro falls in that same, we'll say 1,000, 2,000 price category that you would go out and buy a high-end Sony or Nikon or Canon camera, maybe even less than those top-level cameras. So again, back thing. Nope, very few people are buying this that need professional level photo and video.
But like we said earlier, all of that said, it does pretty good.
Yeah, right. It does. It doesn't disappoint at all. In fact, it surprises you when it's that good. Again, you can reference my very first flight when I'm taking this video at a beautiful sunset, and I get really nice looking video, especially if you're only watching on YouTube and and social media. Hey, I got an update, Marcus. It's halftime on the Monday night game tonight. We have the Minnesota Vikings leading Bill Thomas's Seattle Seahawks 17-10 at halftime. So that's our football update for the night. So back to the regularly scheduled program now. Do we have any other thoughts on the Mini, or should we move over to the Skydio?
Hey, yeah, I mean, I see that Mel 400 AGL says it's entry level gear, and that's a really good way to describe it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely. It's everybody, whether it's a drone company or a car company. I mean, like it's Chevy just doesn't make the Corvette, right, Marcus?
Well, I don't know. The Corvette's usually the one I'm looking at, but yeah, yeah.
And Ford just doesn't make the 500-liter Mustang, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, so why should DJI only make a Mavic 2 Pro?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
So just think of it that way.
Yeah.
So, anyways, now Marcus, he was out busy shoveling snow today, and he was probably hoping to get inside at one point and check the email because we were overdue from an email from a startup drone company that promised that we would. Well, I don't know if they promised we'd have it in our hands, but they promised they would be shipping a certain drone by the end of November, and by my watch here, it's December 2nd. So we're a couple of days out in November, and Skydio's they're a little late. Marcus, am I being too critical?
Hang on, Ron. I'm checking my email.
Oh, okay, maybe a late arrival.
Yeah, no. So you're right. We're in December, and we thought we got in there fairly early, Ron, and neither of us have got that magic email yet. Here's the only thing I'll say. I wish that they could be more upfront with us, communicating with us on giving us a better range of when it's available. All of that said, it's revolutionary enough, and I recognize their situation enough that they're essentially a startup company that I'm not that worried about it. And like you've said many times, Ron, when they send it to me, I want a fully cooked drone. I don't want one that still needs this or that or the other thing. Well, kind of like we were the beta testers for this.
I don't want the Zino beta showing up. Yeah. Yep. And I agree with everything you said, Marcus, but here's the only thing. We gave him credit before for communicating with us.
I agree.
In early November, we got an email saying that, we're working on things, and they kind of gave us a state of the union message, what was going on. They said that they would be contacting us near the end of the month, and we could fulfill our purchases, and they would be shipping. We'd be getting the product in early December. But it's December 2nd. Another email should have came out no later than today, I'll say. The CEO should have called the marketing department and sent another email out, let all these people know that we're still working on it, and we're delayed a week, 10 days, 2 weeks, a month, or whatever. We should just got a status report today. I don't mind anybody being, late. Just like you said, I want them to to fully, finish the product. But I also don't want to be in the dark on something I've already put a lot of money down on it. Just give me a status report, of what's going on. That'd be okay, Marcus. You're in the stock market. How would you like it if you didn't get a daily update of where the stock's going? You would just at the end of the year, you all of a sudden you would find out, oh yeah, your stock lost, went down 99% or whatever. You never got any updates. That's what's going on here. We have no update how our it's been a month since we got an update on our stock here.
Yeah, I mean, they could say something like, okay, we're shipping 200 units a week or something like that, and you're in the fourth group yet down the road. I mean, or just even, they don't even have to be that specific, but at least give us an idea, because you do kind of feel like you're flapping in the wind. So the other thing that I keep hearing about is that you can go on the website right now and you can order all of the accessories, the 2 different controllers and batteries, etc. And they told us that those would have limited availability. So they said, when you get your email for your drone, make sure you order whatever accessories you want, because they felt like they would have limited availability. So my fear is that these people that are ordering them ahead, that may be in the second or third group of wave, hey, they're going to have their remote and their beacon, and by the time we get our email, we'll be put on a waiting list for that stuff. So we'll get the drone, but we won't have the controller, we won't have the beacon, because they're not available.
So
I don't know that, but I worry about that situation.
So we'll be out there looking like dummies trying to fly this thing with our phone.
Yeah.
Good point. Again, that scenario you just painted, I mean, it sounds like it could never happen, but in the drone business, you never know.
You never know.
Crazier things could happen. I mean, in the drone business, you could order a product from the manufacturer. You could pre-order a product from the manufacturer 2 weeks ahead of the launch date, and then you're the last one to get it. Or anything, just walk into a big box store and just grab one off the shelf, and you're sitting there like, your drone's stuck in custom. I mean, I'm just making that up or whatever, but that could happen, right?
It could happen. I've heard that you could pre-order a 3-axis gimbal and order it on Amazon and get it quicker too. So exactly the same situation. I did to a lot of people, and maybe part of that was out of their hands. I don't know, but anybody with a sophisticated supply chain, like you would expect a company like DJI would have, would be able to cope with that, and they didn't.
Yeah, exactly. So again, we'll do another. If we actually get an email from Skydio in the near future, we'll actually maybe do a special update real quick or whatever, and tell you what we ordered, what we were able to order, kind of catch you up on or whatever. Because again, it's so little news. I mean, nobody we know has one yet. I mean, I don't want to drop names, but a name you all know said he got his email last week and he sent it in, but other people say that's not true. So I don't know. So outside of we're trying to get what's his name on the show, Kyle, who actually has one. He's a bicyclist or whatever, who actually was given one to review. I'm trying to work to get him on the show, but as of right now, we really don't know anybody who has one or even got their email. So we're kind of in the dark. So anyways, and if I don't have my my Skydio email by CES or whatever, which is the first week in January, maybe I'll just cancel and put my pre-order in that Autel Evo 2, which the news broke since we did this last show. Marcus, we were kind of blown away from some of the specs on the Autel Evo 2. I mean, I know you can't wait to get your hands on an 8K, sensor there.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I would do with an 8K sensor, Ron, or even a 6K sensor for that matter. Now, I assume that there's advantages that brings to it. I'm just not a smart enough camera guy to know exactly what that is. So you'll have to help me with that. I do understand somewhat, it's going to have 360-degree obstacle avoidance. Well, we already have that with our Mavic 2s. So that's a little bit of a game of catch up on Autel's part. Now, what we don't know is the artificial intelligence that's within that drone. How smart is it? I doubt if it will have the capabilities of the Skydio. Will it be someplace in between what we currently have with the Mavic 2 and with the Skydio? Who knows? Well, in fact, Ron, we don't even have the Skydio yet. So, we've seen videos and stuff that look pretty good.
Yeah, well,
anything we say about it is just conjecture too.
The Evo may make it first.
Right.
Well, all I can tell you about the 6 or 8K video, I know that I'm going to have to start a GoFundMe to get a faster computer because that 8K video will blow my 5K iMac up. So I know that for sure. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not. I know some people are going to say out there, well, you can film an 8K and then you can condense it down to 4K or 1080p and whatever, and it'll look better. And that's all fine. But I don't want to slow my computer down on the 8K. And again, I don't even want to get into the 8K discussion. That's such a I don't know,
it's almost an abstract
conversation. Yeah. But how about I think they were quoted a 16-mile flight range.
Yeah, so you got to wonder, why are they putting a 16-mile flight range in that quad?
Is that line of sight 16 miles, Marcus?
Well, who knows? I mean, they do know for sure that nobody's going to be able to see it for 16 miles. So, I mean, I honestly don't know what the advantage or disadvantage to that is, unless do they know that the laws are going to change and that the FAA is going to change the visual line of sight rules, which we've heard rumors about. So maybe they know something that we don't.
Ron asking here, let me highlight his comment. I can't see it. He one of his comments was, do we know a price on the Autel Evo? Did we see a price at all?
No, there was no price that I know of. Okay.
And another thing, what was the flight time on this? And I put that in relationship with the.
It was high, wasn't it?
Because how can you go 16 miles without a lot of flight time, right?
Yeah, well, it was supposed to be a fast drone too. I think they said 45 miles an hour top speed, which is about what the yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think Ron, I'd have to go look it up, but it was like 30 plus minutes. Maybe it was even like 36 minutes, something like that.
It was higher than we've seen with the Mavic series.
Here's what I do remember, Ron. It had a 7,200 milliamp battery, which is a big battery.
Right, you were impressed with the battery. So I think it on paper it should top the flight times of all our consumer drones. I don't know how good a flight time the bigger DJI drones get, but Mel was in here. He'd know what an Aspire or Matrice get, but I have no idea. But yeah, so that's a heck of a battery. So anyhow, Autel Evo, basically they've checked all the boxes off that they were behind DJI on, right?
Yeah, well, so that's what we don't really know yet, Ron. I mean, they've checked a bunch of the boxes. So are they playing catch up, or is it a step ahead? I mean, obviously we know those cameras sound like they are, and they're interchangeable cameras, which is kind of cool too. So how do we know? Maybe they'll have even just a standard 4K camera that you can swap on there with a big sensor. We don't know yet, but
what we don't know yet, these swappable cameras are user swappable.
Well, I thought it said that they were. I thought it said.
Okay.
I could be wrong, Ron.
Okay, I didn't see that, but maybe I'm wrong too. So if they were user swappable, then that would be a selling point, because somebody could actually, what do you call somebody, a professional drone pilot that needed one with the, the infrared camera and all could buy just one drone and then, take that camera off, put another camera on for just photography or whatever. So
that's a good point. Are they targeting search and rescue, fire departments, etc.? Hey, Ron, I want to bring up something in the chat here.
You tell me and I'll highlight it.
Well, Dennis Nyfir's got the 500 milliamp battery on order for the Zino, I believe he's talking about. Yeah, the Zino, he says there. And Jaybird says the same thing. So shoot, guys, that'll be great. I'll be interested to see what kind of flight time you get out of those when you get them. That will be fun to find out.
It sure
And
will.
it'll be fun to see if it changes any of the flight control dynamics of the quad too.
It winds the distance for the Amazon drone sites around. That's a pretty good comment, Dennis.
Yeah, yeah, that Dennis nailed it right there, didn't he? Yeah. It'll be Amazon flying the stuff into your backyard or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, and I'm going to jump back to Skydio for a minute. The Skydio 2 app got an update today.
Oh, it did, huh?
The iOS. Well, I always get when Marcus and I talk about app updates, we only have iOS. So I'm sorry, we don't. I guess some of the real top level channels have Android and iOS where they compare. Where we only have iOS, but the Skydio 2 iOS app got an update. It just said like, something generic. It didn't mention any big new features, just like fixes and things like that. Jay Bird, a couple of people asked, do we know the Evo release date? Jay Bird, all we know is rumors. Rumor is that'll be shown at CES. Another rumor says it'll be out at the end of January, but that's all rumor. That's nothing from the company. So
yep, yeah. I mean, that's.
I just want to classify this as big fat rumor.
Yeah. Hey, Jaybird is also mentioning the Zino too. Those rumors we heard are pretty cool, but
I'll give him a big fat rumor in this. A guy I talked to in Asia. Now, this guy doesn't work for Zino or any other drone company as far as I know. He said that after the Chinese New Year's, you'll start seeing the Zino 2 appear on Hups's website. Now, but just like the Zino Pro, it could be on there for months before it actually ships. But he thinks you may start seeing it on the website after the Chinese New Year.
So refresh my memory, Ron. When's the Chinese New Year?
I don't know if it's the same exact week every year. You know how holidays change sometimes. Yeah. But we'll say it's around the middle of February. So say they'll be back to work in March. They take a long time off for the New Year's, but they should be back to work in March. So maybe sometime in March we'll start seeing the Zino 2 on their website, and who knows when it'll actually ship. And again, let me reference this. Big fat rumor here, no actual facts in what I just said.
Hey, we got to say goodnight to Greg Pittman. He's taking off here.
Hey, Greg, thanks for stopping in. I hope you had a great holiday. And we'll see you in the next one, as they always say in the videos.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Girl Man's got he's got a Mavic 2 comment here. Zino 2 comment. Oh, he says on order. Well, as soon as it's released.
Yeah. I think I'm a big enough fan of the Zino that of course I'll order a Zino 2. Yeah, and I was really glad that some of the early adopters kind of talked us out of ordering the Zino Pro. There really wasn't enough change between the original Zino and the Zino Pro, I suppose.
Marcus, what is somebody that said it's just a Zino?
That would be Brian over at True Drone Reviews. He goes, it's just a Zino.
He got it from Gorilla Man.
And Gorilla Man said the same thing, did he? He said it's just a Zino.
Brian quoted Gorilla Man.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. He did. That's a good point.
The great Gorilla Man. It's just a Zino.
It's just a Zino. Yeah.
We got somebody else. Parks of Tech here says he's going to be all over the Zino too.
Listen, Josh, you're as bad as I am, dude. Is there any drone that you aren't all over? That's what I want to know.
Is there any drone you don't like?
Yeah. Well, like I said, Ron, I'm a little bit, after flying the Mavic Mini for a while, and like I said, I got to admit, it was even before I got the Mavic Mini. You and I had that conversation of that. God, once I get that Mini, why am I going to want to fly this? Well, now having flown them both, I know why, and I'm glad that I have the Zino, and absolutely I'll keep flying it.
Until the Zino 2 arrives.
Maybe even after the Zino 2 arrives. This thing does a lot of things, and it does them pretty darn good.
And I think we've talked about this. I always forget the exact date because I looked the exact date in my video. I'm going to say I've had this for a year now. I think I got it in the very last days of November last year. So I'm just about a year in now. I think my first video on this came up like, we'll say November 30th or something like that last year. So I'm a year in, and it, you know, I mean, I know a lot of people have had problems, and feel bad for the dropping out of the sky, but outside of buggy firmware to begin with, I really haven't had a problem with it.
Yeah. No, I mean, you know, we initially, when it first, we were beta testers, right? And that was really frustrating for everybody at the beginning there. But it didn't take them long. I mean, I'm going to say, Ron, by February, we had decent enough firmware that it flew okay, and you know, connection issues were resolved, and you know, the camera wasn't as good as it is now, and different things. You know, we had a great time laughing at what we called the Hubson drop, right? Mm-hmm. And that was more fun than anything. You knew it was going to do it. It wasn't really a problem. And same thing with the flight controls, where it would dive on turns and so forth. You knew it was going to do it. So as long as you took that into consideration, it wasn't really a problem. And, you know, a $250 drone, you know, I mean, it's a lot of for the money.
Who discovered the Hubson drop, or who coined the term the Hubson drop?
Well, I believe it's right here.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. I started calling it that on my videos some time ago, but it's gone now. You know, I got that 05, the 1.2.05 flight control. Well, I hand launched it today, but you know, I hand launched it. It just sat right there. None of that drop, none of that stuff. So yeah, they whatever they did, they figured that out. And you know, I'm not a tech guy, so I don't know if it was the barometer or just the software or how it was that they cured it, but they cured it.
We got Josh in here. He calls it the Hubson bounce. I mean, not Josh. We got DeMarco in here. DeMarco Moore, the Hubson bounce.
The Hubson bounce, DeMarco, right on.
You know, I haven't talked about this for a long time, but I swear the first couple times I flew it before it got some firmware updates, when I would take it off, like my very first video when I'm flying in my driveway in front of the house, I take it off, and I swear it didn't have GPS lock. And I had to fly, you know, like in, say, an altitude hold mode for about a minute, maybe not a whole minute, before it finally got the GPS lock. And I noticed that the first couple times I flew it, that I don't think it had GPS lock until you know, like it hovered for a few minutes, and then it got locked because I kept having to said fly it back and forth just like it was an altitude hold. And then one of the firmware updates fixed that, and I mean, it still had the bounce, but I mean, it was still kind of locked in GPS. But I swear it didn't have GPS locking in the first 30 seconds of the first couple times I flew it.
Hey, so Al Durad brings up a good thing here too. That Ron, you remember the crab walk? I mean, I remember sometimes, and it was always worse in automated flight modes. And I remember sometimes on return to home, my drone, I'd literally look up in the sky and it would be at a 45-degree angle to its vector. So that's pretty funny.
Chris says they keep taking little back steps since 1.52 with things like the gimbal firmware and the 0.3 camera firmware. Nobody's saying that they haven't
made mistakes. Nobody's saying that at all. They have made mistakes. 3.8 was a step backwards. This new gimbal firmware was a step backwards. All you got to do is roll back to the previous version if you got it. So I don't know.
It seems we have a lot of people agree that 1.52 was their favorite. I won't say anything the best, but I will say it's their favorite.
Yeah, I see a lot of people say that that's their favorite, and that's great because it was a good one. 1.1.52 was a great firmware. My personal experience, and it's just my experience, yours may be different, but 1.2.04 I noticed increased stability again on that, and 1.2.05 I honestly didn't notice any difference over 0.04. But it didn't hurt anything either, unlike the gimbal firmware that really screwed up the horizon. So it was just a simple matter of rolling it back to the 2.2 gimbal firmware, and you know, I'm in good shape now. And to Al's point, if you like the firmware, that if you're drone is flying like you want. 1.1.52, 3.0.22 on the gimbal, and 0.3.6 on the camera firmware. Leave it alone. No need to upgrade. Absolutely no need to upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, people remember the Hubsan 501. They used to always tell you, if your drone's flying well, don't upgrade the firmware.
Yeah,
but I'm on 1.52, not because I swear it's the best ever. It's just that I've been too lazy to do any upgrades since early June or whatever, late middle June, whenever that came out. I will try this new one. I've been too busy with the drones. I guess I hate to say that, but it's flying good, so I haven't.
Totally agree. No reason to go beyond 1.1.52. Absolutely none.
Hey, I'm going to ask you a trick question, Marcus. We've been talking about all these drones. What's your I won't even give you say top 5. What's your favorite drone of 2019? And it had to actually come out in 2019. It can't be a carryover from the end of 2018.
Well, that's easy enough. If that came out in 2019, I'm trying to think. Well, the only thing I can think of is the Mavic Mini, right?
Yeah, that's a trick question. Yeah.
That's my favorite, buddy.
I was going to ask you top 5, but I can't come up with 2, 3, 4, and 5 because nothing else came out.
I haven't. I don't know if I've actually told him, but I'm going to send this little guy right here. This is like an amazing little GPS mini drone. This might be going to DeMarco. I think that's where that needs to go.
That's a good landing spot for it.
Yeah, the little JJRC. That's the one that originally came from Brian and then ended up with Ryan Duvall. And now I trust DeMarco Moore is going to get good use out of it.
I bet you. I thought another one. Did the Paranafi thermal come out in 2019?
I think it did.
I guess we could throw that in there, even though I hate to throw a non-consumer drone in there.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider that a consumer drone for sure. But this guy is a phenomenal product. If you got $400 and you just like flying drones, man, this thing is just more fun than a barrel full of monkeys. Don't you agree, Ron? I think you were surprised by it.
Yeah, I was again, not expecting anything that I'd really use, and I will use this drone. Girl Man says the X8 did not get shipped until 2019. Yeah, to regular consumers.
Right. Yeah, no, he's right. Yeah, that's good.
But the problem is, we saw all those reviewers reviewing it in 2018. I saw a whole bunch of people have it and review it before the calendar year, so that's why I'm not counting it. Because remember, people like Brian from True Drone Reviews, he had it. I know he pre-ordered it in 2018, and it was canceled on him more than once, I believe. He pre-ordered the A3 and the X8 at the end of 2018 and had both of them canceled before December. So I mean, it may have not got shipped because of delays, but it was supposed to ship in 2018, and the reviewers had it.
That's true, but it's still good because really most people didn't have it till 2019, which is a good point. The other thing that I think is important, and I'd like to hear from people in the chat like Gorilla Man that have it, and Alderan and others. I am getting people asking me all the time to compare the Mini with the X8. That's the one that most people are comparing it to. And I don't know if it's because it's a similar price or what that reason is.
We discussed earlier. So if you wanted to wait a month, it's only $10 more to get the FEMA X8. Is that correct?
That's correct. And there's a lot to like about that drone. And it's way more powerful than this guy. I mean, it's not even in the same league. Like I said, you could stack you could pull a Duranify, and you could put this on top of that X8, and then you could put the Paradanafi on top of that, and it would still be faster than probably every other drone except for the Mavic 2.
Yeah, which again, it's not in the conversation because of the price.
Right.
Al, I don't know if you can respond with a comment here or you want to, but you've made a whole bunch of these videos where you did the camera test right on top, and I can't say I've seen all of them, but I've seen some of them. What was your final conclusions? What camera do you like the best of the three drones? And I know that the FIMI X8 has more manual controls, but besides the manual controls of the FIMI X8, what is your favorite camera of three? Discounting that the FIMI X8 has a bunch of manual camera controls that most people wouldn't really use anyways.
Hey, so while he's dealing with that, Ron, let me throw it back on you. So you watched Al's videos. Which one did you think had the better camera? I'm telling you, when I was looking at them, I'd look at one part of the video and I'd think, oh, well, the X8 is better than the Mini. And then I'd look at another part of the video and I'd go, well, the Mini might be better than the X8. I really struggle.
That's a tough question. I mean, a lot of them, it looked like the X8 was blowing out the sky, where the Mini was handling the highlights better, and that's always a tough question, because if I had it, I would adjust it so that wouldn't happen. So that's always a tough one. When you're not doing anything, and I'm going to make a whole video, but you'll see in my you saw my spark comparison video where I showed you how to control the exposure on the Mavic Mini. And basically when I'm controlling exposure, I'm basically controlling the shutter. I don't know what shutter speed I'm setting into, but it doesn't matter if I know the number, because I can see the results live on the screen, and then I can lock that exposure setting. So if I turn a drone a different way, it won't change exposures on you. So I mean, that exposure setting is more manual controls than you think it is. I mean, it's a very important setting for that drone, and that's how I get. I'm not saying my video is better than anybody else's, but that's how I get video that people think is good, because I'm dialing that exposure setting. In my video, I show you exactly how to do it and how to set it for different type of lighting situations.
Well, Ron, I'm going to have to. The first time I tried to watch your video was the one that had the problem. So
the flicker special,
the flicker special. Which actually looked kind of trendy to me, really, if you want to be the truth.
That's for the cool set, the artsy type.
But to your point, that is something that I am horrible at, and I need to get better at, is messing around with the camera settings, particularly that exposure value. So I'm gonna do my best to learn from you. And then what do they call the graph that you put on there, Ron? On
the histogram.
The histogram. The Mini does have a histogram, so
you can pop it up in settings or whatever, and
right.
it helps you. You can see if you're too much to the one side, you're too dark. If you're too much to the other side, you're too light. You're blowing out highlights. So, and Al picked one. He said the FIMI, because of the 100 megabytes bit rate or whatever. Is the camera, and and I totally agree with Al on that. But I'm just wondering, the people that that the $400 Minis all they care, that's all they can afford, and that's all they want, whether they'll ever notice or care about what the bit rate of the camera is.
So when you guys talk about, I'm not sure I completely understand that. When you guys talk about bit rate, that means
let me simplify. I know where you're going. And this is oversimplified, but the bigger the bit rate, the more data the drone is transferring to the file that's right to the memory card. So when you pull that memory card out of a 100 megabits drone, it's more information on that card. So it's more information for the highlights, the contrast, the sharpening, or whatever. It's more there. So when you get it in the computer, when you get it in an editor, like we'll say Final Cut or Premiere, you could push the stuff around a little bit more, and that matters to somebody like Al. But that probably doesn't matter for somebody that buying a 400 drone because they just want to hit the play button and record.
Well, to your point, Ron, I mean, a dweeb like me, when I look at the video off of the Zino, I always like it because it has really vivid colors and stuff, and it looks really good to me. But what you're saying is it's got a smaller bit rate than, say, the FIMI. So in post, you could do way more with that video that the FIMI.
Right, if you get into a high class editor. But,
right.
But that's not saying, like, the somehow, the little Zino, they have the colors punched up. So most people, when they throw it on social media, they think it looks good because the colors are all punchy. And it can be the same way here. The product that's delivered, when the drone itself creates the file and sends it, they may send that file, so it looks kind of good right off the memory card or whatever, without a lot of work done to it. And just like raw video or raw photos, they come out, they don't look good, until you get in there and push all the colors and sliders around or whatever, but again, the average the person looking to buy the 400 drone doesn't have all that, or doesn't understand that, doesn't care about all that. They just want to pop the memory card in their computer, and they want to hit upload, and they want it to look good. And this delivers on that. And the little Zino delivers on that too. The video right out of the thing, usually looks pretty punchy and good, So, but I mean, but to Al's point, you could take that 100 megabit file and you can put it in the Final Cut, and you can apply all your LUTs and all that stuff and stretch the colors and whatever, and you could make it look, much better than it came out of the camera. But bit rates, like my Olympus camera, it has a 350 bit rate for the video, whatever. And I don't know if I actually look at it and say like, oh man, look at that video is 350 bit rate or whatever. I mean,
can your naked eye, can your eye really tell the difference?
I mean, to the discerning eye, I guess it can, but I don't know how many people are pixel peeking your video and say, you know what, I think that's only a 50 bit rate on that video, whatever. I don't know. I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm agreeing with Al that, again, the X8 probably produces the best video to take it into a high-end editor and do what you can with it. But I don't know if that's the best for most people that are looking for a four-wheel drone. Well, just like the this has the P-Log in it, and this is 100 bit rate, and and you can shoot a P-Log video, and you can really move around. And I'm assuming the FIMI X8 has a log. Al, does the FIMI X8 have a log profile file you can fill them in? I mean, this has the P-Log, which again, you can put it in a Premiere Pro or Final Cut, and you can really go to town on it and really color correct and edit, where you couldn't do it on the first two drones.
A JPEG is a compressed file, right? So I get that.
Right.
Yeah. So one of I watched a video recently that really kind of brought to light to me the difference in video quality between cameras, and that was one of Ken Herron's recent videos when he was at I believe it was the Tennessee State Capitol,
right?
Or Kentucky, Tennessee.
Yeah.
And he had his senator buddy, and his senator buddy was flying a Mavic 2 Pro, and Ken was flying the Mavic Mini, and they both flew basically the same route around the Capitol Rotunda. And this is at night, by the way. This is at night. And the difference between those two videos was phenomenal. I mean, the Pro had so much more detail and so much more color in it than what the Mini did. Anyway, that really showed me, okay, that's what they mean when they talk about the difference between those cameras.
And some of that too, like of course the Pro has that 1-inch sensor, so the bigger the sensor size, the more low light it can capture.
Yeah, that makes sense too.
Yeah, so that it's more than just that. Al mentions that the FIMI has f-log. Well, Al, if that FIMI comes in here for review, I'll definitely shoot some footage in f-log, and I'll put it into Final Cut and see what I could do in the with the editing on it. Definitely, but.
Well, it's coming your way, Ron. I think you can count on that.
Well, you never know what Santa may bring.
Yeah.
And I just heard a rumor too that why we're not getting a letter from Skydio is they're going to save on shipping and just let Santa deliver all those Skydio foods or whatever, cut down the shipping costs.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I mean, I almost wish they could tell us, hey, we're shipping 500 a week, or we're shipping 1,000 a week, or of course maybe that's proprietary information they don't want their competitors to know about. I don't know.
Yeah, well. I don't think it's any secret that DJI is shipping 500, Mavic Minis every minute or whatever.
Hey. Well, what they could do is they should have a supply chain that's sophisticated enough to say, hey, listen, Ron, we expect you to get your drone between December 20th and December 31st or something like that, right? They should be able to give us that kind of an estimate. So it is a little disappointing. There again, I'm willing to wait because it's enough of a game changer of a product that, and like you said, hey, we want it fully cooked when we get it.
Right. Hey, we're gonna end this show. We're almost at 10:30 here, but I do want to touch on something we kind of skipped. You pointed out in a video you did, I believe it was your most recent video with the Mavic Mini, where you had a gimbal issue with it, and I'm going to let you tell your full story. But what caught me on it, around the same time you flew that, I flew this at the beach, and I used my landing pad, and I thought I was on level ground, on level sand. But when I went to take off one time, I had a gimbal warning on it too, and I think my level ground wasn't quite as level as I thought it was, and I think the gimbal caught the landing pad a little bit. But as soon as I picked it up and restarted it was fine when I held it in my hand. So I mean, I just held it in my hand, then I put it down and took off. But I want Mark to tell his full story about his gimbal issue and how he solved it.
Yeah. So on my first flight after I landed, when let me start over again. Speak, Marcus. So when I had the issue when I was flying back and had to land short of my home point, I had to land on a dirt road. And so you can see in the video, the drone kicked up a bunch of dust when it landed. Well, when I got it home, I sprayed it off with a little bit of canned air very gently. But the first time I flew it the next time, the gimbal here, it was stuck in the up and down movement of the camera, and you could feel a little catch in it. And it took me a while to blow it out. Of course, I was out in the field, so I'm just blowing on it. But anyway, got it clear and cleared it up. But I guess the point of it is, this is going to be, I think, a pretty fragile little drone. So you're going to want to be careful with it. Maybe even hand launch and hand catch, but if not that, land on a landing pad or something where you're not blowing up a lot of dust. And if you do happen to blow up some dust, I would definitely take a little bit of canned air and very gently blow it off, because I did have that issue. And then I've had both Ron and I have had issues with it in the wind where it will actually blow the gimbal around. Yours blew it down. I had one situation where it's blowing it sideways. The other thing that I wanted to mention is flying it in colder weather. The flight where I was flying on the Boise River recently, you can see it in that little bit of a micro shake in the video, and I suspect that that's because I was close to the cold weather specs on this drone. This drone is not supposed to be flown below freezing, and I was like about 34 degrees that day. So I'm thinking that might have been my issue there. But anyway, just a point that this is going to be a fairly fragile little guy.
And I got a recommendation. Parks and Tax, Josh, he did a video recently where he got was it the P and Tech? Is that the name of the company? They make a bunch of drone accessories. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
P and Tech. They already have the landing legs out that I have for my Mavic 2 Pro. And they're the ones you can keep on the drone. And he put them on. He did a nice display, a nice video of it. So much so that I went out to Amazon, ordered them, and guess what, Josh? Like the ship time, I'm like, I won't get them until like the middle of January. So I didn't even order them or whatever. So I mean, it's a great video and great shout out for the landing legs for the Mini. But the problem is they're already they're on back order more than the Skydio is.
Well, make sure you put your number on your drone at that point too, because you're definitely going to be over 250 grams.
Are you under 250? Are you over 249 yet?
I'm not, but I put my number on there anyway because if I ever do put anything on there, the thing is I'm already paying for that license, so I put the number on there. But if you had those landing legs on there, you would be, or if you put the cage on it. They've got that little attachment on I don't know who uses that little reader board attachment that goes on the top of that. All of that stuff is going to put you over the 249 grams or 250 grams. So why not here in the United States, especially? Canada might be a little different, but just put your number on there.
Good point. Yeah, I haven't got my number on it yet, but I haven't actually put anything on it yet. But I intend to put my number. I've already paid my $5, so why not?
There you go. Exactly.
A friendly reminder that in Canada and other countries it could be different, but in the U.S. you have to follow every law at 249 grams. You have to follow 250 grams, so it doesn't mean anything to us if we've paid our $5 and have our number. And Jaybird says it's 250 with a memory card, with the SD card.
Yeah, I don't know. I've weighed it with the SD card and it came in under 250, but I know others might have a different experience. But yeah, in any case, I just don't see why not just put your number on there, you know?
So, well, that's a controversial topic there, that number, but I'm just joking, you know. Yeah, but we definitely understand why it's important for people in other countries. So yeah, Jay Burr was saying there 250. But I think we've, Marcus, I would say we covered a lot of ground tonight.
I'd say we have. And
probably covered more ground than we have in the last month.
A lot of really good talk in the chat here too. So I appreciate everybody have come up with a bunch of really, really good stuff.
Gorilla Man makes a comment here about the MGX crew that jump in with a 3-axis gimbal. Drone market, that drone that you saw in Walmart, the one that looked kind of like the Parrot, that's an MGX drone. It may be rebranded in there, but that's the MGX drone that came out, I don't know, 6 months, 8 months ago.
Well, it looked like a cross between a Mavic and an Anafi. It was a weird looking thing, man.
Yeah. Chris is saying good night. Parks and Tech saying, he's saying good night to Al's leaving. Good night. A lot of people are leaving, and we're getting ready to leave here too. So we kind of, gave you guys a lot of information. I won't say it's good information, but it's information, right, Marcus?
There you go.
So
it's our opinions. Let's put it that way. Our opinions.
Marcus, what do you have coming up on the channel this week?
Well, so I did, like I said earlier, I did take the Zino out to fly today, and I'm just finishing editing that video, so I'll throw it up. I still have some more video to edit that I took in the Snake River Canyon when I was down there with the Mini in the canyon floor.
Part 2, right?
Yeah, and some of that's pretty cool because I got right down into some of the riffles of the rapids there and stuff, and I thought some of that looked pretty good. So we'll get that out there.
And Bigfoot was stalking you in the bushes, right?
That was fun. That was funny as heck. I can't remember who put that comment, but I laughed. Yeah, it was. So I'm standing there flying the drone, and I could hear rustling around in the bushes, and I'm sure it was, there were ducks all over the place. But I flew the drone over to see if I could see what it was, and I couldn't find it.
And I know that when I visited Oregon, California, I was in the forest where Bigfoot supposedly. But wasn't there supposedly Bigfoot sightings in Oregon also? I think there's Bigfoot sightings everywhere. Yeah, I don't know. Well, New Jersey, we have the Jersey Devil here.
Oh, really?
He's kind of a Bigfoot type of guy, whatever. But
in Arizona, they have the chupacabra, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so you got a couple of. I got a video coming up. I finally did an unboxing of the neat stuff that. Rick Smith over Drone Valley sent us, and I'll put the links in the video. The stuff he sent me is real affordable. He sent me a Mavic Mini charging kit cable. He sent me like a Swiss Army knife type of cable where you plug it in the USB-A port, and then you have a Lightning, a USB micro, and a USB-C. So I had that plugged in the back of my computer, so I can plug anything into the computer now with that one cable.
Hey, I got to ask you about that, Ron. So is that a data cable, or is it just a charge cable?
Well, I plugged it in, and that's a good question. I haven't tried. I plugged it in, but I really haven't had anything to transfer data yet. I'm assuming it was a data cable, but I haven't fully tested it yet. So I will get back to you in the next show with the test results.
Perfect.
Yeah. So, and I'm working on. That's about. I got that ready to come out. I just dropped the video today. My my Mini versus Spark video came out today. I got another travel video I'm putting together from San Antonio, like a offshoot of the spin up thing, where I'm showing you what the boat trip around the Riverwalk looks like or whatever. So that'll be sort of more of a, I'll call it a GoPro. I'll call it a GoPro video.
It's a travel log.
Yeah, GoPro video. Yeah. Then I see that the Hero 8 was like $50 off this week at many places.
Yeah, I saw Hero had a big package deal. I'll be honest with you, Ron. Since I already got mine, I didn't pay much attention to it. So I know there's some stuff going on just about everything. Probably one of the best buys was the Black Friday deal on the Osmo Action for what, $279?
Yeah, killer deal.
Yeah.
And I know that the Insta361X was on Black Friday sale for $339. So that was a heck of a, well, I mean, it was like $60 off, but I mean, it's one of the top 360 cameras out there. And rather than upgrading from the Hero 7 to the Hero 8, I would maybe rather upgrade keep the Hero 7 and get the new GoPro. I always forget the name. Their 3D camera, which I think is $499. But the nice thing is you could turn it into a mode where it's just a 180 action camera. You could shoot it both ways. It could be an action camera and it could be a 360 camera by the flip of the switch. That kind of would give you two cameras for the price of one.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. I really don't know much about it, Ron.
The name is the tip of my tongue for that thing. But I don't. But I didn't see that on Cyber or Black Friday sale, so I don't know. But anyways. So we've gone 91 minutes. So if anybody has anything else in the chat, or Marcus, if you have any closing thoughts for let me just say we had a great group in the chat. People very engaging, asked a lot of questions, left a lot of comments. I want to thank everybody that came in here. I mean, I see a couple of names that came in late. Ronnie B's in here with us. Matt's in here with us now. It's a couple people that joined late. Chris was in here for a while. I think he had to go.
Can I help you, Ron, with the GoPro name? GoPro Max.
GoPro Max, right. Greg Traveler was in here, so we had a good group. But look at that Max again. It looks like it's a combination, basically like the Hero 8 and the I forget what their 360 camera was going before. And I know I've seen a couple of reviews, and again, the reviews, it's kind of hard to understand because they're showing you so much stuff. But I know that they said you can do almost all the editing in the app, and I know the Insta360 One X just got an update for the app where now you can just on the phone app. You can edit the footage from the 361, but you can also splice it with regular video you took from your phone. So you can make a video on your phone in their app that combines regular iPhone video and 360 video in one video release. So that's kind of interesting.
That's right. Yeah.
So I didn't want to turn this into the camera nation here, but anyways. Let's not start talking again, and we'll still be talking at 11 o'clock. So I hope everybody, want to thank everybody for showing up. Hope everybody had all the U.S. people had a great holiday, Thanksgiving Day weekend. I know we're looking forward to the next holiday now. And I gave a little programming note in the beginning, but I'll say it again in case some people aren't here at the beginning. We're not going to do a ZinoNation the Monday before Christmas, which I think you said was the 23rd?
23rd, that's correct.
No show on the 23rd. Maybe we'll throw some kind of recorded video in the stream if somebody really needs to get their fix, but it won't be a live show that night.
I'll be out of town, and you will too, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And also a programming note, we will be on Drone Therapy this Wednesday, which is the 4th, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Bill Thomas and John Coopy. So I think that's all I have to say. Marcus, you close it out with any closing thoughts or stuff you have to say.
You know what, Ron? We covered a lot of territory tonight. It's wintertime, but guys, you can still go out there and fly.
Hey, all right. What kind of day is it, Marcus?
It is a great day to fly, as our friend Bill, the drone reviewer, would say.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.